What's going on, everybody? Money Shot here, back with another God's Eye perspective of a public War of Rights match. War of Rights, of course, going to be a 300 player count, first person military roleplay combat sim set in the US Civil War. This is ticket style play with buffs for staying in line, following the orders of your officers, and some stiff penalties for your team if you are caught out on your own. And you saw from the thumbnail, Union has broken their streak and they've come out on top today down on the farm. But let's not get too hasty, as this match we will be able to highlight the importance of officers and having those who can blend strategy and tactics while wielding and not just leading their troops into battle. And we will see the consequences of the absence of those individuals, even when the subsequent army is of decent strength and well disciplined. That being said, let's flip it on over and let it unfold. But just before we do, if you have not yet, please down below give me a like, a subscribe, a share if you've got friends, and I will check back in with you just before the map. Hope you enjoy. Alright, what's going on, everybody? And we're just jumping in here. We're just a little behind here. 42 on the clock right now. Otto and Sherrick Farm. And let's pull this back here so everybody can get a decent view. We're looking from the CSA battery to the southeast. And there's the map. CSA battery there on the far right of the CSA deployment. And they do overlook the Union battery just opposite the farm ground here. As battery set up, and infantry units are making their opening volleys here. And it looks like the CSA is kind of really oh, they're hiding behind the barn. They have no officer currently for any of the units. Not sure what's going on there. They do have an artillery officer, but he's not going to do much for them. Well, kind of an interesting conundrum now for the CSA side. I don't think Union realizes that. They probably could capitalize on that pretty well. A lot of red on the ground for this Union battery already. You can see somebody is waiting to respawn right now. And they're going to likely just trade shots until somebody is needed somewhere else, or to deliver fire somewhere else. CSA now really just as a mob.
Where the hell did that shot come from?
Probably following the loudest voice, I would say. At this point, they still do not have any star for their side. There is one just spawned in. I do believe he'll probably move up to the main group. Union making a push down the right side of the map here, the east side of the farm. And they're going to hope to get to a position before the CSA can really get themselves organized. And I don't think they actually do have an officer yet. The stars we were seeing, I think, is the artillery officer, and yes, it is. They are still a mob at this point with a couple of flags to respawn. And I'm guessing they're listening to sergeants. They'd be able to see their chevrons. So they are still able to probably follow somebody when ordered to. Union, kind of playing depth there. Not exerting a lot of control over the center or the point of contention yet. As the battery begins to pound the opposing artillery with some good effects. You can see both cannons are now completely silent. One infantryman back here defending the cannons is still alive, but the core of the CSA battery was completely wiped out with that volley. Nice fire by the Union battery here. And they do have an officer contributing to that. It's usually hit or miss in a public match whether an officer will take the battery reins. If they do, and they are adept at what they do, be a game changer, however. Often see that from the CSA side.
NCO, you are a goddamn flat. You're a fucking bad open, buddy.
And CSA is now very defensive, very conservative, well behind any point or means to put pressure on the center of the map now. The Union team just taking positions right now to drop tickets, I imagine. Wear the CSA team down before they just go in and try and cap at the end of the match.
We are his
Still no officer here. Nobody wants to take the lead apparently, and so the sergeants are kind of having to do the majority of the work for all of the companies, and that's not really allowing them to formulate solid battle plans. Amongst the different companies. That's why you see them all back there as one large unit. As the batteries continue to duel over here, CSA fire coming up short by about 40 yards, it looks like. They need to raise that just slightly. And it looks like they'll be on the money. Pretty well positioned and well trained battery there though, and they do wipe the CSA team again. And these boys in brown are having a day today. As a Rambo sharpshooter there in the bushes takes him out again. And the Southern guns have effectively been silenced at this point. Secondary battery here is kind of up on the front lines now. Really just firing canister right downhill onto the center of the map. The Union is trying to get a position just ahead of point of contention, which would allow them to lock CSA out of any attempt to make a push. But CSA isn't really intending to push anywhere right now. And they continue to just try to take tickets from Union wherever they can. Some small arms here in this bush. Not sure who's in here or... Yes. One little Rambo attempting to put some fire out on this fence line, it looks like. But I don't think he's really...
They are entering the viewing and mogging. They are mugging us.
Really causing any amount of damage over here. We'll wait for his smoke.
Oh dear.
Got a knockdown flag back here.
Flag down.
Oh, is that
Oh
our
goddamn.
flag?
Right,
Is that
drop
our
the
flag?
flags,
Do you
drop
believe
the
that's
flags.
ours? I have
CSA, now their cannons are right where they need to be at the top of that hill for this unit, and they're taking a lot of artillery fire.
We must advance for kingdom.
There's that Rambo. He decided to maneuver, I guess, and get a little bit of a better shot, so we'll just wait. I imagine... It's some Union boys in here making a more of a defendable position in order to hold this entire farm, though they do not have windows out the back, and they are... I wonder if they're even aware. Yep, they're firing out the windows now. I was going to say, they're not firing. I don't know if they even know that the entire CSA main force is outside in the front lawn. And it would appear they now have an officer. I'm not sure if he's doing officer things. He might actually just be the battery officer. There are 2 officers in here.
Nobody goes in, everybody
Nope,
rallies
it is the
down.
Union officer trying to rally bottom of the house. And CSA comes back up to the barn.
That's pretty lame.
And no, that was the battery officer.
Yeah.
So they still are without bars at this point. And the Union battery just drilling the southern position. One dedicated batteryman there, taking a direct hit from a Union shell, and he goes up in a wave of red mist. And an officer has now joined the CSA team here. They are pulled way back. Really defensible, but an officer could really help here, change things.
Yeah.
Not sure though. Maybe he was the battery officer again. And I think he might have been. That's not gonna help them at all. And to be honest, their battery is really kind of doing the best that it can. And exactly what it needs to be doing at this point. Anybody who gets down in front there, they need to focus on, which they have been doing, although I think they might have got wiped out. And the house is now going to come under full assault by the CSA infantry.
Is that booby traps?
No, just you two.
And these boys are kind of stuck.
Yes, we're gonna hold this
Just
room.
aim at
That's
the
right.
door.
Really big house.
I expect each of you to take at least 2 down with you.
And
Good
we'll
boys.
play Sims here just a little bit.
Watch,
Take a
they're
look
coming,
at
they're
what's
coming.
going on. Stairwell.
It's been a pleasure to serve with you boys.
And you've got a old-fashioned shootout here on the farm. What
That
is
door
that?
closed.
Young Guns? Was that you in the house? Couple of CSA boys trying to take some positions on the outside of the house, get ready to push in. There is a lot of Yankees inside, however, and would highly discourage that plan. Also some Yankees in the backyard here that I don't think they realize have already engaged them. And a Union flag on the ground right here in that meadow. Take a look around here, make sure nobody's doing any flanky funny stuff, and there is some action here. Finally, some leadership on the CSA side. And they try to come down to the east and envelop this Union team that is well dug in here now. And to be honest, it may actually work to some degree. If nobody is up here, one officer, that might spoil the fun if, well, he's only got one person with him. But CSA is now really pushing into this backyard and into these outhouses.
He's hell out there.
I thought they were probably going to wrap all the way around here and just surround the house. Instead, they decided to try an assault, and I don't think it's gonna really pan out for them. There's just too many Yankee troops inside that big house, and the first real attempt by CSA gets stalemated in a very tight position. Should one of these battery men decide to rotate his tail, he's gonna find some real juicy targets right there. And there are now multiple gray and butternut uniforms on the ground. And there's a slow push here by the CSA to take this basement. You can see how difficult it would be to tell who's who in there. As
Away.
as they start singing. CSA battery now trying to find some marks here, doing a little bit of damage on the Union battery, but I believe these boys are still pretty well dialed in. Looks like they might have moved the cannon a little bit, maybe not, as he's gonna go back to his tail and have to shift his aim just slightly. Still looked like one of the rifled guns was trained up this way, and he was also taking aim. And there's a small skirmishing group sitting right there. And he steps to the lanyard. Napoleon firing long.
Hey, Artie, are those friends?
And a rifled gun fires long as well. So, a little bit of razzling to the Union battery has taken place since the last time we visited them. And it may be due to the Union cannons have pulled back into the shadows and are now firing from a relatively covered position with those rocks there on the left. Really only, oh, there is two. Right side, pulling lanyard now. And should shortly be followed by the other gun. Following just about 10 yards short of his target though, and Union prepares to return to sender. They go about 50 yards along, however, and
They don't really don't know how to hit shot.
And they are now talking smack in the CSA battery. What was a very effective start by the Union battery has been flipped. Possibly by the Union battery officer. Well, he is still there, so I don't know. Napoleon has pushed way far over here to get a flanking shot on this battery. And we'll take a look at this effectiveness as he fires. There he is. And he puts it smack into the CSA's caissons, flipping caissons, rendering that completely useless for the rest of the map. And I believe that's going to also render this cannon nearly inoperable for anything other than its current mission. But great shot by the Union boys. Flipping that thing, all that ammo is useless now.
Fuck you making fun of?
And they were just talking smack. But they've now got a wagon on edge. And back here down by the house, looks like maybe the house has been wiped out. Possibly still some shots going on inside. But the CSA main force pulling away from the house, and it's pretty quiet in here. I think they probably wiped them. Finally getting an officer, really pulling things together now. But they are breaking to the Unions, taking losses. That's not to say they cannot pull something out of their sleeve, as we know.
Did we beat the charge?
Yeah, but we can't let them take point. Remember that.
We'll take a listen here for just a moment.
Oh, I'll try to.
As usual, proximity chat I cannot do anything about. So, viewer discretion advised for audio at this point.
What's up, homie?
Not a lot of discussion, really just holding this area. Their plan is to not allow the capture of the point of contention by the Union, which is taking place right now. Well, it was an attempt.
Coming from the
It was probably an unintentional attempt, just trying to get some fire on these boys as they pull back quickly. Union battery now finding its mark on the infantry lines there in the outbuildings, and that's going to cause them to have to move as they're already behind the 8-ball. They choose to slightly pull back. I don't think that's going to be enough. We'll see when the next shell comes in here in about, I would guess, about 11 seconds. But they were pretty dialed on the center of those two buildings, and that shell might come right in there and take all those flags down. A couple of them, maybe a company or two, pulling back into the other, very close on this, on that next shell, and it won't take much for that to actually slip right between those buildings. Large amount of CSA is now shifted into this meadow and is putting fire directly into this. Alright, let's pull it back. As the Yankees close that blue ring, they are going to steal this one off for a win. Despite the Rebel team finally finding some leadership, it was far little too late, and the Union breaks their losing streak. But let's give credit to those Southern NCOs and sergeants who held that Rebel line together despite the quicksand that they were in the entire match. Great job, boys in blue. And that being said, I will leave you with the map.
In 1831, the widow Margaret Ham sold her Mount Pleasant property in 2 lots, one to Joseph Sherrick and the other to John Otto, who became fellow neighbors and parishioners at Dunker Church farther north. The Otto family even donated the bricks for the building of it, while Joseph Sherrick, Samuel Muma, and Daniel Miller supervised its construction. But these picturesque farms would soon be inundated by soldiers and death, with most every scrap of food taken and the farms used as hospitals once the battle had shifted past them. Thankfully, the $3,000 in gold Joseph Sherrick hid in one stone wall was still there when they had the chance to return afterward.
Alright guys, one last time, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you think so far. How can I improve? How am I doing? If you haven't, like and subscribe and share. And until next time, I will see you on the field.